Hey guys, Spazzy Dragon aka Syndromes here. Welcome to episode number 2 of Avorion. We left off just as we were about to create our first ship. Yes, I know it was a bit of a cliffhanger, but there you go. So the idea is we can achieve our goals of surviving in this hostile environment in very many ways. And we can be a trader, we can be a pirate, we can be a mercenary for hire. So this is exactly where we actually left off. So we are going to select the shipyard, go F again, build ship, and we're going to make ourselves a shippy. I'm going to change the volume, and I'm going to be looking at the ship costs over here until I hit 1,000 iron, because we have almost 2,000. You can actually see the more I add, the bigger the ship becomes. And it changes in size and not so much in shape, though. It is kind of obvious that this design generated for this particular faction is kind of different. I can change the seed of this ship, and it's going to give me very different designs overall. And the thing is, the game kind of assigns certain types of bricks. So, how to explain this? The ship is made out of many components, such as, you can see the main engines are here, but you also have thrusters, these blocks with these holes, that is going to allow them to control the ship, like pitch and yaw and stuff. There's also crew chambers over here somewhere. There's also many other kinds of components, like a separate place for cargo. And yeah, that's basically how it works. So we're going to make our ship 1,000 iron in size. It's only going to cost us 2,200, and we have 10,000 credits overall. And all we have to do now is name our ship. So, let's call it the Discovery 1. And we're going to call it 1 because I think a few episodes in, this is going to be Discovery 4. So, let's build it. And now the shipyard is going to have this little progress bar, and it's going to start building our ship, and we can fly towards it. The ship, when it's done, it's never really done. Essentially what we're hiring it to, this shipyard to do, is to provide us with the base for our initial ship. We're going to place all of the stuff we want on it on top of this. There it is. There is the Discovery 1. Player owner is Syndromes. Let's take a look at it. Well, it's exactly as it looked like in the preview. Oh, that's the sound of a trading ship being stuck. So much so that it's actually moving the base a little bit. Let's ignore that. That was supposed to happen. And let's enter the ship with T. Now, the first things you're going to notice is that we are getting some sort of warning up here, and if you press and hold shift, you can actually see what it is. Your ship is weak compared to other ships in this region. If you want to survive in combat, you should arm it better, add shields, or extend it. So, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And this ship let's actually test it out. Our drone went 200 or 300 meters, depending on what we were using. Well, this thing does not really pick up speed. Its maximum cruise speed is only 203 meters per second, and, well, let's try to turbo it. And it goes up to 813 meters per second until our engines are starting to drain our power core. Okay, let's cut it. The idea is that when you turbo, these engines are going to gradually eat more and more energy until they are simply going to fully drain your ship's systems. The ship actually has a lot of different systems. We can actually see them if you go to the ship menu and go to our energy management tab. So up here, this top bar represents the amount of energy that we're generating in excess. This whole bar if it was filled, would be the amount, percentage-wise, how much our generator, our internal generator, is currently creating for the ship. The filled-in part is basically how much is being... how much of this energy is currently being used by the ship's systems. And the ship's systems in general is the life support for a crew, your flight assist, your thrusters, your engine, and so on and so forth. You can actually toggle all of these things down if you really want, but it's going to have negative impacts on the ship itself, so let's better not. But yeah, this is our starting ship, but this is not going to, you know, remain our starting ship. The reason why I wanted this shippy is because, well, you saw how mining was being done, right? This is not really fun. So we are actually going to have a different ship doing all the mining for us. So, this is going to be our primary ship for combat use, and we're going to arm it. If you press B, it's going to pause the game, that's important, and it's going to send you into this building menu, which is currently complex as fuck, but it's basically going to show you what you can build and how you can build it. Up here we actually see all of the tiers of materials we can get. You start off with iron, then you have titanium, neonite, trinium, xenium, uganite, and Avorion. The game is, again, named after the most rare of them all, or maybe it's the other way around. This background arrow is basically showing us where the ship is facing, and from here we can add everything. This is just the quick selection bar. If you press over here, it's actually going to pop up every single thing you can build. You can see that there is actually a lot to build. So the ship I currently see here is not really sturdy, so the first thing I guess what I want to do is add a little bit of oomph to it. The problem is, this is iron, and iron does not really give us a lot in terms of facilities. You'll notice that we have things like hull, we have a engine, that's the primary engine. These engines only face backwards. You have iron stone, which is basically what you make certain buildings out of. Cargo bay, which is, if you add it, it enlarges your cargo bay. Crew quarters, which adds more crew. For example, right now, over here on the right side, we can see the statistics of this ship. We have 4 crew members out of 9 maximum. You have how many gunners, how many miners, engineers, and mechanics. So this size ship requires only 2 mechanics and 1 engineer, and we can see that both of these prerequisites are currently already filled. So, the more things we add, the more thrusters we add, the more stuff we build on top of this base in general, the more people will need to actually man it and keep the systems, you know, functional. So, I'm going to simply make the ship a little bit nicer to look at, but that is going to be my only reason for now. So, I can press and hold R to kind of do it like this. I'm not looking for anything too wild, I just want it a little bit more interesting to look at. And again, trying to make everything perfectly symmetrical in this game is kind of silly. I'm not even going to bother trying to do that. But there you go. So, the moment I added these 2 pieces, my weight, the weight of the ship increased. This means that I also need more mechanics, and it is also saying that my brake thrust is low, and I need more thrusters to actually stop the ship, which, again, makes sense. And we are going to make it, we're actually going to do it right now. So these are going to be our brake thrusters. We're going to make sure that they are pointed in the right direction. This time I'm going to make it so the game mirrors my placement. Actually, let's not do that. The ship is not symmetrical. And with every single addition to this, it is actually going to add to our brake thrust over here. And that's what we're looking for. Again, I'm not trying to make it pretty. This thing simply has to be functional. We actually ran out of iron. There we go. So now the ship should be capable of stopping when we need it to. But you will notice that it actually became a little bit slower. And that's basically the idea. We are going to get into these situations where every single improvement of the ship is going to have some negative impacts on how it behaves. Oh yes, and I almost forgot. We need to add some weapons. The ship, if we go into the ship statistics over here, it comes with 4 slots. And that is actually a fucking lie. Essentially what this means is that there's 2 types of turrets. There's combat turrets and there's utility turrets. Combat turrets are everything from cannons to lasers to blasters to Tesla coils, missiles, and so on. And the unarmed, or the, utility slots are basically mining lasers, repair lasers, and stuff like that. The game starts you off, every single ship you make starts off with only 2. It doesn't matter how big the ship is. Even if you make the biggest ship the shipyard is going to allow you to build, it's still going to start off with only 2 slots. And you expand them by actually expanding the ship systems. The systems are over here. The bigger the ship, the more slots you have, and as we're going to go through the game, we're going to acquire upgrades, and we are going to slot them in to make the ship better. So right now, I can only have 2 turrets. And the game, when you start, actually provides us with 4 different set of turrets. 4 turrets in total, 2 kinds. You start off with 2 mining turrets, and they are randomized. And you start off with 2 chain gun turrets. Chain guns are not really good combat turrets, but they are going to be more than enough for this ship. So there you go. I just placed down those 2 turrets, and if we go back into the ship menu, you'll notice that it has ate up one of the turret slots. And that is because, actually, your ship starts off with 2 slots, and then either a slot for a combat turret or a utility turret. So if you put down another of one kind, it is just going to eat the other slot. And so we can only place down 1 mining turret, and we're just going to boop it on the nose of the ship. And also, if we go to the system over here, we can actually assign the slots. So I'm going to select the turret and press 1. This is slot number 1, and we're going to select that, slot number 2. So, right now our ship is not functioning well, because first of all, we now require gunners. We need more gunners for these turrets. And we also require miners to operate the mining turrets. We also need more mechanics because the ship overall is bigger, and that only means that our maximum theoretical amount of people on the ship has become more than 9. So with that in mind, we will need to fix that. The only problem here is that I do not actually have any more iron. So, we are going to go to the nearest station, and we are going to purchase more crew members, or hire more crew members. The moment you get close to the station, it is going to show you where the docking points are. You can just steer yourself over there. And only once you're docked, or are as close as possible to the docking point to count as docked, only then you can purchase things from the station. And we need crew members. Okay, the docking bay is over there, so I'm just going to level myself out like this. And approach it like this. There we go. Dock. And I want to hire crew, and I need a few more. Right now, I don't have the capacity on the ship to actually house them all. I will need to build them quarters as fast as possible, because if I don't, their morale is going to drop. And if your morale starts to drop, the ship becomes harder and harder to fly. So with that in mind, we're going to get the crew members. We just got 5 new crew members, but it still says that we don't have enough miners or gunners. So let's just hire 5 more. Now we have all of the crew we need to actually operate the ship. The only problem is that your ship is overpopulated. Build more quarters to support all of your crew. If I don't do this soon, the morale of the crew, which again is a thing, if we go over here, you will see that this is the morale, and it's going to actually start dropping over time. And, well, that's how it goes. Alright guys, this was episode number 2. I'll see you in the next one. There, we are going to enlarge our ships to fit our new crew, and we're also going to start exploring this sector we're currently in, and also make adjustments to the ship to actually make this exploratory thing a little bit more feasible, because right now this thing is slow. I'll see you in the episode number 3.